This show contains spoilers and adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
Movies with Ron, movies with Ron.
Hell yeah, motherfucker!
Movies with Ron!
Hey, in Terminator 2, why is the T-1000 naked at the beginning when he arrives? You're allowed to transport anything that is enclosed in living flesh. And he is he's all flesh, even when he's got clothes on. Right?
Yeah.
Why is he naked?
I don't know, man.
Yeah. I guess they had to keep up the secret because you didn't know what he was at first.
Yeah.
But he was in the trailers. They didn't have to do that.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Or maybe he's like a newborn.
He came from the future. Everything he touches, he gets information from, and he didn't have any information for clothes in the 1990s.
You don't think he had clothes before he went back?
He's from the Terminator factory.
Yeah, they sent him from the factory. I'm sure he wasn't wearing clothes, but I still don't think he should have gone back naked.
Totally.
I think Skynet would have... I do think Skynet would have had information on clothes from the 1990s. And why the hell would they send him back naked, you know? It's all about...
Fitting in.
Secrecy, yeah.
Yeah. They made the T-1000. They were like, sweet, he doesn't have to go back naked. Because I'll bet they, tried that. And, other naked Terminators, I don't know.
Well, yeah, of course
it was awkward for them.
Maybe there's a lot more programming that goes into their robots that they send to the past. Skynet is too busy to figure out clothes, so the first thing that happens when they go back is, get clothes. Terminator goes and gets clothes.
But the T-1000 doesn't need to.
You just make them.
Anyways, Facebook made an artificial intelligence, but they needed a way for the different machines that have the artificial intelligence to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
So they made them a language that they can all speak, because they don't speak English. Too slow for machines, I guess. But also the Facebook employees, they know what's going on as well. All right? So they're keeping track of it. The first thing those machines do is they made another language that Facebook does not understand.
Wow.
So it's all right, hope we see you next week. Welcome to episode 54 of Movies with Ron, the podcast where my older brother surprises me with a movie he saw because I don't go see him anymore, and he explains the whole thing to me from beginning to end. Keep listening and you'll end up liking his versions better. It's okay if you've seen the movie. It's okay if you haven't seen it. The experience is unique, so let's get it on. I'm Chris, your MC for the time being. Across from me are sound and sample guy, Rick.
What's up, everybody?
And here he is, folks.
He's the ball cracker, death on foot. You know him, you love him. He's Ron. 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 Yes! Yes! Yes!
Hey, Ron.
Hey, man, what's up?
I got a beef with these extended universes going on.
I used to have a beef with them. And I think I'm drinking the Guyana grape. I'm liking them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I like them, too. And here's the thing. Marvel did a thing.
They certainly did.
And they got good at it. And now everyone's trying to compete.
Oh, yeah, man.
But the thing is, how many movies a year does Marvel release? At least 2.
Oh, more than 2.
I'm keeping it conservative because the universes that are competing with Marvel's can't even keep up with that.
I know.
We got The Mummy for the Dark Verse, and the next one's coming out in 2019.
I know, man. Which one is it?
Yeah, I don't know. I just heard 2019, and I was I had to take a step back and be like, what?
Yeah, man, that's bullshit.
Bullshit.
Exactly. We got Wonder Woman, which was good.
Mm-hmm.
A smashing success. When was the last DC movie that came out? They better hurry the hell up, don't you think?
Yeah, man.
For real.
The last DC movie, I think, was Suicide Squad.
With how bad The Mummy did? Well, I guess it's doing good globally. But there's reason to doubt whether they're even going to continue
be able to
with
finish it. Yeah.
Yeah. With how slow they're going.
Which sucks, because I rather enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah. And Universal invented the shared universe
They certainly did.
back in the day with Frankenstein meets the werewolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a big deal back then.
Frankenstein meets the Wolfman.
Well, I was just on Amazon, and I found a Blu-ray combo pack of every movie that is supposed to be the Dark Universe.
Oh, yeah?
And
Like the old ones?
Yeah,
Ah.
all the classics. So I bought it, and I'm going to be watching every one of them and getting ready for it. The whole thing has Dracula, Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, Bride of Frankenstein, The Wolfman, Phantom of the Opera, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and, more recently, The Mummy.
All right.
So, when we need to pull from the old movies, I guess I'll be your compendium of knowledge.
In 2019.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, see you in a couple of years, Rick.
For real. Come on, Universal.
I know, it's bullshit.
I'm waiting on you, Universal.
Speaking of shared universes,
Okay.
the Conjuring universe is about to get a little bit bigger.
Oh, jeez.
There's a new spin-off announced, and it is The Crooked Man. He's getting his own movie, guys.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I'm excited. I don't care.
Really?
Yes.
Cool.
It wasn't my favorite part of the second one, but
Yeah.
I guess it was okay. It's kind of like a Babadook kind of thing.
Yeah, I still
Remember
thought it
when-
was cool.
Yeah. Remember when that happened?
Yeah.
All right, so they remade Flatliners, and it looks dumb. Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
I mean, I don't even know why they'd do that. Does anybody even remember Flatliners?
Oh,
I know
yeah.
we do,
I do.
but
Kiefer Sutherland is in it.
yeah. So is Julia Roberts.
Yeah, it was a...
I think there's
was-
a Baldwin in there somewhere.
It was kind of a modern-day Brat Pack kind of thing. That was like... They were trying to begin the Brat Pack of the 90s.
It's like Breakfast Club with a purpose.
Yeah.
When they're grown up. I don't know. How do we... There's a Janssen boy over in Amsterdam. He doesn't know about Flatliners.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
sure.
how is he going to care about this new one coming out? I mean, how is it interesting to him?
I saw the original, and I didn't care about it.
Yeah.
So, you know...
Did you guys think that I was just naming off an actor from the original? Because he's in the new one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, he's like the doctor in charge,
Oh, it might be like a sequel then.
like the old man
Yeah.
running it.
No, I saw it. I saw the poster for it on IMDb. Went and checked out the cast, and yeah, he's in there.
All right, that makes it a little better.
Yeah, I don't care.
All right. Thank you.
The Janssen boys don't need to care. It's fine.
Okay, there's a animated movie, kind of didn't get noticed, called Captain Underpants. You know, I thought it was a kid's movie.
It is a kid's movie. What are you talking about?
I mean, I thought there was no reason to know anything about it.
I still think there's no reason.
But I go online, and it's based on a series of books.
Uh-huh.
And there are fans of these books that just as hardcore as like Harry Potter.
Huh.
Yeah. And this movie came out, and they were so happy, and it's just like under the radar.
Yeah.
It's just like nobody really knows about it. Everyone says the book series is surprisingly good. Captain Underpants.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll crack one open. Did you just get it?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Here's a big question.
Excuse me. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Do zombie movies exist in movies that contain zombies? The world is divided. And it all hinges on, like, do characters call them zombies in the movies?
But yeah, remember in Shaun of the Dead, they were like, we don't say the Z word.
Well, yeah, that was like a satire about it. But in Walking Dead, they don't. They call them walkers. Everyone wants the characters to call them zombies.
Uh-huh.
But how do they know they're called zombies? Because it's like, it's an outbreak. It's a new thing. Nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah.
There's no direct connection. Like, how'd you kill him? Like, I hit him in the head. How'd you know how to do that? You've never seen a zombie film? That line is never in a movie.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Maybe in a lesser known one. But People are so passionate about it. And it's not just zombie movies. It's other, like, vampire movies.
Yeah.
It's so ingrained in our culture. How could we tell a story where it doesn't exist in that universe?
Mm-hmm.
But it still seems appropriate to me for some reason.
I was just thinking about this the other day, that they should come out with a zombie film that where everybody's ready for them, because it's just everywhere, in our culture at least. So
That's a good idea.
people would be having fun in the zombie apocalypse. Finally!
Yeah.
It'd be a short film. It would have to be, because we would, like, nip that shit in the bud
Yeah.
real quick.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
All of our social problems would disappear, and it would be about who's the better zombie killer. And we're
Yeah.
all just having fun.
That's all that would happen. You couldn't tell an appropriate zombie attack story.
And the outbreak wouldn't last very long anyway. Everybody's ready.
Yeah. In a universe where they know about zombies.
In a universe.
Speaking of monsters, I have a recommendation. From 2009, it's a Korean film called Thirst.
Oh, yeah?
Either of you seen it?
Nope.
All right. It's a Park Chan-wook movie. He's an awesome director. In fact, this recommendation is for any movie he's done. He made the original Old Boy,
Oh, okay.
which was the first in the Vengeance trilogy he made.
Uh-huh.
Second one was Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. Third one was Lady Vengeance. He got less creative with the titles after Old Boy,
Okay.
but all amazing revenge stories. Then he made Thirst, and it's a vampire movie.
Yeah.
It's a Catholic priest at this hospital. There's a disease in Africa that's killing white men and Asian men.
Yeah.
And he signs up to be one of the test subjects in a vaccine for it.
Okay.
So he goes to Africa and gets sick as fuck.
Uh-huh.
The vaccine's not working. And it's all these, you get all these boils and blisters all over your body.
Yeah.
And it's gross. He dies, but, you know, as he's dying, they're like giving him blood transfusions,
Yeah.
trying to help him. He gets blood from a vampire that was donated by a vampire.
What the fuck?
So he dies of that disease,
Yeah.
and then they put the sheet over him, and then you can see him breathing under the sheet.
Yeah.
Because now he's a vampire.
Right.
So,
Sweet.
but he still has all the boils, all the blisters.
Ah.
Right? So he comes back and he's wrapped in bandages, and he's the only survivor of that disease.
Yeah.
So he's immediately famous, and he is known as the Bandaged Saint. And then he's at the hospital, and he starts freaking out. He can hear things that normal people can't.
Uh-huh.
He can, like, see the veins in people's necks.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the fuck? But, like, most of all, he's, like, totally horny. He, like, wants to sin.
Yeah.
And he does that fucking Ben Affleck thing from The Accountant where he fucking hits him. He hits his leg or something. He's trying to block out the bad thoughts.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, so he's so thirsty for blood that he finds a coma patient and just takes out their IV, puts it in his mouth, and just lays on the ground. And he just drinks it. And all of his boils and blisters go away.
Oh, okay.
You know? And then throughout the movie, he falls in love with like a 20-something girl because he like wants to have sex because he's a vampire.
Right.
Figures out that he can jump really high and has super strength.
Uh-huh.
But he's like this Catholic priest from a hospital in Korea.
Yeah.
And I can't give away any more. It's a good movie.
All right.
From 2009. It's called Thirst.
Yeah, I want to see it.
I'm a big fan of finding out that you have superpowers.
You like origin stories?
No, I just wake up some days hoping that I get them. That's always the fun part in any movie, though, with powers. Right when he gets them. Or she.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they're always so successful. And then their sequels are kind of shit,
Yes.
like always. Except maybe Batman, but he ain't got no powers.
So then let's do sequels, kind of like Mega Man, where you just keep getting more powers.
That's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
All right, It Comes at Night.
Oh, yes.
Folks, Ron went to see It Comes at Night.
Does it, Ron?
It does not.
I heard the title is meaningless.
It is completely meaningless. When I was done with this movie, I was like, well, there's got to be a director's cut. In fact...
the things that come at night.
Yeah. In fact, when the movie was over, the entire theater engaged in one big conversation with each other. One guy just said, "So what comes at night?" And everybody else in the theater, we all just started talking. People were like, how do I get this time back?
Oh, really?
Yeah. The guy right next to me is like, man, I'm pretty angry. And his girlfriend like shushed him. It was weird, man. Yeah. Universally.
So it didn't spark a discussion about the film itself. Everyone hated it.
Yeah.
That Joel Edgerton guy thinks he's pretty creative.
He has been called the least interesting actor in cinema today.
If everything you're doing is bad, I want you to know this.
Oh, Joel.
Did he direct it?
Oh, no.
He directed a movie called The GIF, which was The Gift.
What?
An internet GIF. The GIF. It starts a mystery. But it was halfway good. But no, this director, is this a first-time director?
No, it's directed by Trey Edward Schultz, who is, he's a second-time director.
All right.
He's like a 20-something,
Okay.
and he's kind of a golden child. He made a movie called Krisha, which was very highly acclaimed. Mm-hmm. And that's why everybody wanted to see It Comes at Night. That might also be why, even though nothing comes at night, and this movie is bad, it still maintains an 80-something% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Good Lord.
I would like to know why. Guys, that is why I chose this movie over 47 Meters Down.
Okay, that's an issue.
Yes.
Because you're talking about the critics' score.
I am, and I was aware of the human score that It Comes at Night had. It had like a 40-something, okay?
Uh-huh.
That's not too far off from what The Mummy had, all right? And The Mummy had a fucking 17 for the critics' score,
Yeah.
all right? And I liked the hell out of The Mummy. I didn't go into it with predisposed notions.
Uh-huh.
And I often enough will like movies that don't do well critically. Now, a couple of other reviewers saw 47 Meters Down, and they all thought that it was in the toilet too.
I think with critics, it's kind of their job, and they get tired of seeing the same formula.
Uh-huh.
But I think what makes a movie good is making it different and edgy while still following the formula.
Sure. Like, see, I am not a movie critic. I am a movie goer. I'm part of the audience. What matters to me in a movie is how it makes me feel. You know? If I can be caught up in the story or the mythology of it, whatever. If I like it, I like it.
Uh-huh.
I'm with you.
You didn't like this.
No.
Do you think you're just not getting it?
I had to wonder that.
Is there a secret Rubik's Cube behind what happens in this movie?
I really don't think so.
Okay.
Even one of the guys afterwards,
Because I love those kind of movies where you got to dissect them.
even after the movie, one of the guys that was walking around, he said, "Did I miss what happened?" Somebody else was like, "We all missed it." But regarding how well-liked Trey Schultz is in the cinema community, I want to read you a quote about this film by Sean Burns. "The movie is far too solemn and high-minded to indulge in anything resembling scares or thrills, instead doubling down on the queasy atmosphere of lots of long, slow-tracking shots in which nothing happens."
Good Lord.
I want to know why this movie scored so well with critics. This is just bullshit.
I don't like hearing those words, nothing happens.
Oh, something happens, but nothing comes at night. I even Googled it later. What comes at night in It Comes at Night? Nobody knows.
All right, folks, get ready to take a shit, 'cause it comes at night on Movies with Ron.
Yeah, roll the ugliness. You know what time it is.
It's showtime.
Put those guns away.
Get the people out! Come on! Get the people out!
Okay, so the movie opens up with a black screen, and we just hear breathing. It's a little labored, okay? And then you can just hear this this muffled woman's voice saying, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Dad?" And then we see the guy's face, and it's an old man. He's definitely got some sort of sickness. He's diseased. He's laying in his bed. He's dying. He's just staring up. Then we see the woman who's talking to him, his daughter. And she's in a gas mask. And she's like, "I'm so sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. Just let it all go, Dad. Just let it all go." And he, like, seemingly does not even hear her. He's just looking up because he is dying. And then we see behind her is the rest of her family, all in gas masks. And now we see the room, and it's covered in, like, plastic sheeting. So we are dealing with some sort of contagion.
Okay.
The lady's husband is like, "Okay, let's do this." "Hey, Dad. All right, I'm just going to pick you up now, okay?" He's, like, trying to be all nice because it's still like his father-in-law. And then we just cut to them wheeling him outside in a fucking wheelbarrow, taking him out into the woods. They pass the house that they're living in. It's a big house, and it is completely boarded up. All the windows and doors are boarded up except for one.
He's in a wheelbarrow, but he's still alive?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, don't touch him! Don't touch him!
Damn right, because they just dump that wheelbarrow, and that old man just, like, rolls down into a shallow grave that they just dug.
Oh.
And the husband just gets down on top of him, and he's like, "All right, sorry, Dad." Puts a pillow over his face, shoots him in the face.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah. And he stands back, and his son is out there helping him. They have a teenage son. Then they dump gasoline all over that old guy and just burn him. Yeah. And then all this black smoke is rising up from the body and going up into the air, and it's over that shot that we see, "It comes at night."
Is it at night?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, when you got a contagion like that, that's what you got to do.
Absolutely. Okay, so then we actually cut to nighttime because it is dinner time. So it's the father, the mother, and the son.
Is Joel one of these people?
Joel is the father. His name is Paul.
Okay.
His wife's name is Sarah, and the son's name is Travis. And on each of their plates is like a teeny tiny little piece of meat and like 16 peas. So they might be getting close to starving to death.
Okay.
Where are they?
They're inside the big boarded up house. There is some sort of a contagion happening, and they are holed up.
Yeah.
Like in a suburb or in the woods, or?
Their house is out in the woods.
Okay.
So they're not even teasing you that there might be monsters out there.
Not yet.
That come at night.
Nope, not yet.
Like, they want you to know there's a contagion.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So it cuts to Paul and Sarah in bed, and she's crying because her dad just died, and he's like, "You know, we're going to be okay. Don't worry, everything's going to be okay." And she just, like, this look on her face is just like, "Nope." Travis is up in the attic listening to them talking in bed about how, like, he shouldn't have been there for the body burning and stuff. So then he goes downstairs with a lantern. And he walks into his bedroom, and on the other, there's two beds in there, and on one of them is a dog. The dog's name is Stanley. And he's like, "Don't worry, Stanley. Don't worry, I'll take care of you." I guess Stanley was the grandpa's dog. All around the house, we see pictures of this same family, so we know this is their home.
Okay.
The camera pans across a painting in the boys' room, which is some sort of old painting about, like, the Black Plague or something like that. You know, no reason for this painting to be there other than to help us get in the mindset of plague. And then we see the infamous red door. The red door, and this red door was made a character of its own, like in the preview.
Uh-huh.
Little underwhelming in the movie itself, but here we go. So then this kid has a nightmare where his grandpa is sitting in front of him, and they're just staring at each other, and his grandpa is still all, like, dead-looking and, gross.
Yeah.
And then he just vomits up a bunch of black shit. And then the kid wakes up because his mom is waking him up in a gas mask saying, "Holy shit, man, come on. There's people in the house. There's people in the house. Come here." So now all three of them, they all got guns and gas masks, and they are going to the red door. You can hear on the other side of it that somebody is inside the house and is knocking shit around, okay? Paul just takes his rifle, gets down on one knee, and aims it at the red door. All right? And somebody's in there, like, looting, okay? And then they start to try to open the red door. They start kicking on it and banging on it. All of a sudden it opens up, and then Paul just shoots.
Yeah.
Okay? The guy goes down. He's not hit. I think he just, like, it freaked him out, and he fell backwards. Paul does not waste any time, jumps in there, on top of the guy, starts beating the shit out of him. It's just one guy, okay? Guy's wearing a bandana around his mouth. Paul starts yelling at him, "Are you alone? Are you by yourself?" The guy's like, "Yeah. Are you sick? No. You got anybody outside? You know? If I go outside, is anybody going to be there waiting for me? No, I promise, no." And then Paul's like, "Okay, all right. Okay, close your eyes." And the guy's like, wait. And then Paul just knocks him out with the butt of his rifle. Yeah, okay, so there's one door to the house that is not boarded up. That leads into like a foyer or something like that. And then the next door in that room is the red door. So the red door is like the airlock to the outside world. Okay? So he looks at Sarah and he's like, "All right, watch him. And if he wakes up, you call out to me." She's like, "Okay." So he then goes outside to look for other people. Doesn't find anybody. But there is a lot of long, slow shots of him just like being out in the dark. Okay, and it's like spooky. Then he comes back and he's like, "All right, there's nobody else. It's fine." So he takes him outside, ties him up to a tree, and then leaves him there for the night. Eventually, the guy wakes up and is just tied to a tree with a bag over his head and tape over his mouth. Just screaming, like all night long. And Paul is just sitting at one of the windows, which has a teeny tiny little hole drilled in it, and he's just watching him. So what he's doing is waiting to see if he is sick.
Oh.
Then in the middle of the night, the son gets up, takes a lantern, goes through the red door and to the outside, and goes out to try to find the guy. All right? He can hear the screaming, so he just follows that, gets up to him, and then in front of him all he sees is his own father with black eyes. And it's like, holy shit, what the fuck? And then he wakes up.
Oh,
yep,
geez.
there's a whole lot of that shit in this movie.
The coolest parts of this movie are going to be when people are dreaming.
Yeah, and it's only the son. Just his nightmares. So in the morning, Paul goes to the guy and he's like, "Get on your feet." Takes the bag off and he's like, "Okay, look, I got some questions for you. I don't want to hurt you." Shows him his handgun and he's like, "I will use this if I have to. I want honest answers out of you, and if I get that, I'll give you this." And he holds up a jug of water. And the guy's just like, "Okay." "Why'd you try to break into our house?" "I didn't think anybody lived here, man. I mean, like, there's no light from inside and everything's boarded up. It just looked totally derelict." "Yeah, well, what were you looking for?" "Food, water, for my family. They're held up in an abandoned house, not too far away from here." He's like, "How long have you been there?" "Oh, about a week." "Well, where were you before that?" We were in another house with my brother." "Yeah, okay, why'd you leave there?" He's like, "We ran out of food, Okay, so in the house, it's your brother, your wife, and your son, you said? He's like, No, my brother's not there." "Why? What happened to your brother?" "He's dead." "Was he sick, motherfucker?" He's like, No, he wasn't." "You know anything about the outside world? Like, what's going on?" And the guy's like, "No, as soon as the people in the city started getting sick, we kind of just, like, went off the grid, if there even is a grid anymore, and, we've just been holding up. But we do have food, man, okay? And what we really need is water. So if you can give us water, I have plenty of food to trade." And Paul's like, "Yeah, how much food do you have?" He's like, "Enough to trade, man." "Yeah, seriously, what do you got?" "I got like 4 chickens and 2 goats, some canned goods."
Damn, he's got like chickens and shit.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
That's pretty valuable.
Oh, yeah.
In the apocalypse, I guess.
There's no real way to know how long the apocalypse has been going on.
Yeah.
So then he gives him some water and then walks back inside with the guy still tied to the tree. And now we're having a family meeting, and the son is just sitting there staring into space because he's all, like, fucked up and brooding. And Sarah's like, if he's got a family and they're not pieces of shit, maybe we should just move them here. So that way we could just all have all the food and the water. And it would be easier to defend this place the more people we had, because if they found it, others can find it. And Paul's like, yeah, well, I ain't moving anybody here unless I know they're not sick. So I'm going to go and I'm going to stay with them for 3 days, okay? And if I don't come back, you don't come looking for me. And she's like, yeah, okay.
So they need food.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And Paul has plenty of water?
Yes. He actually has his own filtration system and everything.
Okay.
He is a rugged outdoorsman.
Yeah.
With red hair and a beard.
He's typecast with that shit.
Yeah, he is. So he goes to the guy and he's like, what's your name? Will. All right, Will, I'm going to help you and your family out. And if it turns out you are lying to me, man, you are fucking dead. Will's like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Paul goes around to untie him, and then we get this shot on Will's face, and he's got a face like, I'm going to fuck you over. So Paul pulls out his pickup truck, and he's like, you ride in the back. Okay, yeah, tell me where to go. Before he gets into the driver's seat, he's like, are we good, man? The guy's like, yes, sir. All right, let's go. So they go, and they are down the road maybe 5 minutes or so, and they get shot at.
Oh, jeez.
The tire is shot out, so he crashes the truck.
Asshole!
So then his window gets shot out, too. And he's like, oh, shit. And he has to climb out and then get underneath the truck. And he's got his rifle with him, so then he's just forgets about Will for a second and is just waiting to see who the hell that was. He sees a guy, then just shoots his ass. Guy falls down, is not dead, is on his hands and knees with his ass pointing at Paul, and Paul shoots it. So that guy's dead. Then he hears Will actually in a fight of his own with somebody else. Will is on top of this guy, beating the shit out of him. And Paul's like, get the fuck out of the way. He's about to shoot him. Will's like, no, don't shoot him. And then Paul's like, oh, fuck that. I'm shooting him, and shoots him.
Uh-huh.
Then he points his rifle at Will, and he's like, why didn't you want me to shoot that guy? Yeah, these buddies of yours? He's like, no, man, come on, I was fighting him too. Yeah, okay. So why didn't you want me to kill him? Well, because we could have gotten info from him first, like maybe they're part of a bigger group nearby. So then he's like, all right, here's a gas mask and some gloves. Wash your hands. Let's get going. Cutting back to their house, it shows him coming back in the truck with Will, his wife, and their young son, Andrew. He's a toddler.
A child. A child. A child?
So then it cuts to them all having dinner together, and Paul is going over the rules of the house.
That's always fun.
And he's like, the red door is the only way in or out, and it is always kept locked, okay? No one ever goes outside at night. We never go outside at night, okay? And I was like, oh, yeah, all right. Because something comes at night.
Okay.
Here we go, all right? And he's like, yeah, and, even in the daytime when we need to go to the bathroom, which for some reason is not in the house, we usually go in groups, of at least 2. Okay, and at night we just do it in buckets. And Will and his wife Kim are like, oh, okay. And other than that, guys, welcome. So it's a nice little happy time. Even Paul, he has dropped his whole like, who the fuck are you?
Because he's been staying with them.
Yes.
Okay.
So then it's nighttime, and Travis, teenage Travis, is he wants to spy on the new couple. So he's up above their room in the attic, and he's listening to them, and they're in bed, and they're joking with each other about how they smell like French onion soup, because they're all gross. And it shows Travis actually laugh at that.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. But they don't hear him. So the next day begins the montage of the good life, and them chopping wood together. It shows Kim and Sarah learning how to use the the water filtration system and everything, and then Kim is teaching Sarah how to take care of the chickens and the goats.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of every day, they all walk inside the red door, and then they latch it. It's very important.
Uh-huh.
Do not go in there. Woo!
So life is good, and Travis, he's taking care of Andrew. He's like coloring with him and stuff. This is a teenager and a toddler, okay?
Mm-hmm.
bonding. Now, they're brothers. Everybody plays Chinese checkers. There doesn't seem to be any alcohol. They're all drinking water all the time. So they're all having a good time and laughing together, and they talk about how after Chinese checkers they should play buckets and try to guess whose is whose.
What?
By the smell of their shit.
Oh, good Lord.
This makes Paul laugh heartily. Then at night you can hear somebody having sex.
That's what comes at night.
That's what comes at night.
We figured it out.
So Travis, he goes spying, okay? And then he's in bed later. And then Kim is just in his room. And he's like, oh, shit. And all of us in the theater are like, oh. So she's just standing over his bed. He wakes up. She gets up on top of him. And then kneels down to kiss him. And then vomits all of this black shit right into his mouth.
Oh.
And then he wakes up. So after that, he can't sleep, and he goes downstairs into the kitchen. And he runs into Kim, who is just sitting there. And she's like, yeah, I can't sleep. Every time I couldn't sleep, I would go to the kitchen, and I would eat. And he's like, oh, okay. So then he sits down, and he's like, well, what are we having? And there's nothing on the table. So then they start doing this food fantasy where she's like, I'm eating bread pudding and cupcakes and ice cream and stuff. And he's like, oh, yeah, I hate all that stuff. I hate sweet shit. And she's like, oh, that's weird. Why do you not like sweet stuff? And it just turns into dumb-ass flirty conversation, right? Right after which she catches Travis just looking at her tits. And then she looks at Travis and goes, how old are you, Travis? And everybody in the theater goes, oh, shit.
One thing, though. Touch his dick, and he's dead.
So he's like, I think I need to go. I need to go to bed. And she's like, yeah, okay, Travis. Good night. Yeah, good night. And he runs away. So then the next day, Paul and Travis are working together, and he's like, listen, man, I know you like these people, but just remember, you can't trust nobody. Travis is like, yeah, okay. And then the dog just starts going crazy, barking at the woods. And everybody stops. All the wives, Will somewhere else, he stops. They're all just staring at the dog. Dog is just staring at the woods and barking.
Yeah.
Barking, going crazy.
This is the movie poster moment.
Yeah.
Where you're like, it's monsters.
Yeah. Paul walks over to Stanley, the dog. He's like, come on, quit it. He's like trying to be all rational. Ain't nothing in the woods. We're all fine. Dog is going nuts and actually bites him.
Ugh.
So then he loses his hold on him, and Stanley just runs off into the woods. Travis freaks out because he's got this big emotional attachment to the dog from his grandfather, and just takes off into the woods after him. So then Will and Paul have to chase after Travis. Travis is following the barking, and then he stops, and he's just staring ahead up at the top of this hill. We see the top of the hill. We can't even see Stanley, okay? And Will finally catches up, and he's like, hey, what? What is it? What do you see? He's like, the barking. It just stopped. And I heard something. And Will's like, oh, shit. All right, something real might be happening here. But then Paul shows up, and he's like, God damn it! Travis, what are you doing? Get your ass back to the house. You know what? Everybody go back to the house. And he just shuts it down.
Oh, jeez.
Even Will is like, hey, man, we might want to investigate over that hill. And Paul's like, nope, go back home. Because if we investigate over that hill, this movie might have something interesting in it. And that is not what this movie is about. This movie is about fear and creepy shit. So then Travis is like, what about Stanley, Dad? What about Stanley? He knows the woods. He'll know his way home. All right, come on, let's go. So then it cuts to them all just having dinner in awkward silence. And Paul is like looking around like, maybe I fucked up. Nobody will look at him and shit. And he goes up to Travis later and he's like, listen, son, I was thinking maybe in the morning you and I will go look for Stanley. And the kid's just like, yeah, okay, thanks, Dad. Like, it's all fine now. I totally forgive you for condemning my dog to death. So then after that, Paul and Will are sitting there together, and Paul breaks out a bottle of bourbon. Ooh. And
Nice.
Will's like, oh shit, man, really? He's like, yeah, oh, I'm sorry. Do you not drink? Oh, yeah, I drink.
It's not Fireball, though.
No. So Paul and Will, they started getting to know each other a little bit more. Paul's like, so what did you do before this, Will? Yeah, I was a construction guy, and I was a mechanic for a little while. What about you? I was a teacher. I was a history teacher, man. You want to know anything about the Roman Empire, you ask me.
There you go.
And Will's like, yeah, my dad was a mechanic. He's the one that taught me. Paul's like, yeah, did you have a big family? No, it was just me and my dad. And then Paul's like, huh. So, what about your brother?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Will's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? When I first met you, you said you were living with your brother. So what the hell, man? And then Will's like, oh yeah, that was actually Kim's brother. This is my brother-in-law. And then Paul's just like, oh, okay. Nothing weird about that. Good night. Then we see Travis, and he can't sleep again. So he starts wandering the house, and he hears some weird noise. And at first, we're like, oh, sex again, huh? But then he goes to his grandpa's old room and sees little Andrew laying on the floor having a nightmare. Okay, so he's like, oh, shit, okay. Hey, Andrew, come here, man. Come on, get up. And Andrew is like, where am I? And he's like, you're in another room. Come on, let's take you back to bed. So he's holding his hand, and he walks him back to his parents' room, opens up the door real quiet, and he sees both of his parents laying in bed sleeping. So then he's like, go ahead, man, go back to bed. Andrew goes and jumps into bed, and then Kim rolls over and puts her leg over the little boy. And Travis is just like staring at her leg. And he's just staring for a while. And then he just goes ahead and shuts the door.
Well, hey, you. Don't let the bed bugs bite.
Ladies and gentlemen, Janos. And then Travis hears something downstairs. So then he goes downstairs, and oh shit, the red door is wide open.
Damn.
So then it cuts to a jump scare of just him waking his dad up. And he's like, Dad, somebody's in the house. So then his two parents get up, they put on their gas mask, get the guns, and they go downstairs to investigate that. Paul stops and gets Will and brings him with him. They walk in through the red door and find on the floor Stanley the dog, who is laying there covered in shit and blood. All right?
Jeez.
So he comes out and he tells his family what he found. And Travis is like, oh, Stanley, he's back. Oh, my God. And Paul won't let him go in there. He's like, he's pretty sick, man. He's real sick. I'm sorry. But no, you can't go in there. So Travis is crying and shit. And his mom just takes him away. And then it shows Paul and Will take the dog out, shoot it in the head, and burn it in a shallow grave again.
Jeez.
Yeah. So now they're all having a meeting at the table, and Paul's like, all right, everybody stay in the house for the next couple of days. There's no way we're walking outside. I don't know what the hell happened out there, but hey, Travis, so you said that, you heard it in there and you opened the door? And Travis is like, no, I didn't open the door at all. I found it open. And they're all like, well, then who the hell opened the door? And everybody in the room is like, well, not me. And then Travis is like, well, maybe Andrew did it. Little toddler Andrew.
Uh-huh.
And his dad does say, well, that can't be possible. He's barely tall enough to reach that lock. And then Paul looks at Kim, and he's like, does Andrew sleepwalk? Because obviously he does sleepwalk.
Yeah.
Kim and Will start getting defensive, and they're like, you know what? No, he doesn't sleepwalk. Everything's fine. And then Paul's like, okay, well, maybe just in case, why don't we all avoid contact with each other for the next day or so? Why don't each of our families just stay in our rooms? And they're like, yeah, okay, we can do that. So they're self-quarantined, and Travis has another nightmare, in which he's walking towards the red door, and then he goes outside, and he can hear Stanley outside barking. So he's trying to find where the barking is, and he's got the rifle and the flashlight. And then we just see his face when he finds whatever the hell fucked up Stanley, but we don't get to see it. and we just hear the barking stop with a little yelp, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And Travis just has this horrified look on his face, you know, because nothing is more scary than fear. Okay? And then he wakes up and immediately vomits black shit all over himself.
Why am I drippings with goo?
And then sitting in front of him is his dead-ass grandpa, who then also vomits black shit all over himself. And then he wakes up for real.
Okay.
He's looking at his arms, because in that nightmare, I forgot to say, he was covered in, like, boils.
Okay.
He looks at his arms and there's no more boils, so he's really awake this time. But now he can hear crying from off in the house, so he does his spy thing, gets up into the attic, and he can hear over Kim, Will, and Andrew's room. And he hears Andrew crying and Kim saying, "We need to leave. We need to get the hell out of here now." So then he goes, wakes up his parents, and tells them about that. And his dad is like, "Okay, all right, we'll go deal with that. Now, hey, how are you feeling, man?" And Travis just goes, he starts stuttering, and he's like, yeah, I mean, I'm fine. Nothing funny there, right? So Paul and Sarah, they gear up with the gas masks and the guns, and they walk over to Will and Kim's room. And on their way out, Paul is talking to Travis, and he's like, "Hey, you didn't touch him, did you?" He's like, "Well, Dad, yeah, I had to hold his hand walking him down the hallway." And Paul's like, "Oh, shit." So then Travis is like, "You do understand that if they're sick, I'm sick too, right, Dad?" He's like, "Look, don't worry about it, man. All right, let's just go see what's going on." So Paul and Sarah go and check on him. And Paul's like, "Hey, Will, is everybody okay in there?" You know, he's knocking on the door. Will's like, "Yeah, man, we're all good. You know, he just had a bad dream. You know, everything's fine, though." Paul's like, "Yeah, but, can I see him?" "It's really not a good time, buddy. But don't worry, we'll, we're not supposed to be, having contact with each other, right now, so, just go away." "That's not cool, man. This is my house, all right? So, just open the door, man. Come on, open the door!" Then Will's like, "Yeah, okay." He opens it up a little bit, and then he points a gun at Paul. He's like, "Get the fuck in here." Paul just, drops his gun, and he's like, "Okay, all right, man. It's cool. It's cool." Inside on the bed is Kim holding Andrew and, hiding his face.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so obviously Andrew is sick, infected.
Two-tone, zebra-headed, slime-coated, pimple-farming, paramuseum brain, munching on your own mucus.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Will's like, "Look, man, we just want to leave, okay? We just want to get the hell out of here. And I just want what's fair, okay? I just want half of the food, okay? Enough so that we don't ever have to see you again, all right?" Now, Paul doesn't want this, because what are they going to do when they run out of food,
Yeah.
So Paul wants to go and kill them if they are sick, and now he knows they are. Will also forces Paul to take off his gas mask.
Oh, jeez.
He's like, "No problem here, man. Nobody's sick here. Take it off." At gunpoint, so
Yeah.
Paul has no choice. So Will's like, "All right, we're leaving. Let's go." And then he lets Kim take Andrew out first, and he walks behind Paul, pointing the gun at him. So they're going slowly down the hallway, and then all of a sudden, Will just stops, and then he slowly turns to his right to see Sarah just standing there, pointing her gun at his head.
They will come from behind.
And he's like, "All right, Sarah. Okay, listen. This doesn't have to get ugly." And she's like, "Uh-huh." And he's like, "All right, we can both just lower our guns, and you guys can just let us leave, okay? We only want what's fair. We just want to leave. There's no reason for anybody to get hurt." And Sarah's just like, "Yeah, okay." So I'm going to count to 3. We're both going to lower our guns. So they actually do that. But as they're doing that, Paul's like, "Fuck that." And he turns around and wrestles the gun away from Will. Kim sees that happening, and she just runs into through the red door. So they're in the last room before the outside. So now Paul's got the gun, and he forces Will and Kim to get the fuck outside in front of the house.
Oh, command me, Lord.
So they're outside, and they're all just, like, walking away from the house, okay? And then Will starts doubling over and, like, coughing, like, oh, God, I'm so sick, I'm so sick. Paul, like, doesn't buy it, and he's like, come on, man, fucking cut it out. And then Will just, like, keeps coughing. So then Paul starts to believe it. Just long enough for Will to get the jump on him and turn around and punch him in the face.
Oh, jeez.
He gets Paul down on the ground, picks up a giant rock, and just starts bashing him over and over in the face with it.
Yes, I think no. Yes, the joyfulness is over.
Yeah, and so Sarah sees that and just shoots Will right in the back.
I'm a land farmer, motherfucker!
So then Paul, he gets up. And then he sees Kim running away with Andrew in her arms. And that motherfucker just aims and shoots at him. And they're at the top of the hill, and they go down. And Travis is outside as well, and he is just watching the whole thing, okay? With this dazed look in his eyes.
Wow.
And then we just hear Kim screaming and crying. And Paul walks over to look at her, and she's just laying on the ground over her dead toddler son. And she's like, you killed my son! You killed my baby! And it's just like, Jesus, man. Like, when she went down, I was like, oh, okay, he shot Kim.
Yeah.
Nope, he hit that baby boy.
Oh.
There is no comfort.
And she is just totally hysterical, man. And she's like, you killed him! You killed my baby! And Paul is just standing there, like, staring at her. And then she's just like, you want to kill me? You want to kill me? Kill me! Paul just aims and shoots at her, kills her.
Yeah.
I'm committing suicide!
Yeah.
Yeah, baby. So then the camera just kind of pans over to Travis, who's just standing there staring at the whole thing. And they're like, Travis, are you okay? Are you okay, Travis? And he's just standing there staring. And then blood starts to drip out of his nose.
Oh, God.
So yeah, he did get sick from Andrew.
He put this disease in me.
Is that Blue Velvet?
Yeah. Play it again.
He put this disease in me.
And then he just vomits black shit all over the place.
Oh, jeez.
So Paul and Sarah are just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And then Paul, he makes a beeline for the bourbon. All right. And then Sarah starts tending to Travis, and he's laying in his bed, and he starts, he's covered in boils, and he is fucked.
Damn.
We're going to be part!
All right, so she's talking to him, and she's like, Travis, it's okay, honey. It's okay, baby. You can just let go. You can just let go. And then we see from Travis's point of view, and he's just like looking up at his mother, and then he sees the red door. And he starts walking towards it, and he's walking, and then he just walks through the red door. And then Sarah just sees him die in the bed.
Oh.
Yeah. So then Paul, he's sitting there drinking, and he's just weeping and crying. And then it just cuts to Paul and Sarah, who are already starting to look a little sick. And they are sitting at the kitchen table, just across from one another, just staring at each other.
We are going to die!
Oh, God.
And then the credits roll, baby.
Ah, shit.
Yeah, that's it.
You think there'll be a sequel?
Oh, there just might be, Chris. There just might be.
Damn.
Yeah, there you have it. That's It Comes at Night on Movies with Ron.
That's not a story.
No, it is not.
No!
Yeah. Well, what'd you think, Rick?
That's bleak.
It's got, the whole thing has to be like symbolism for something.
I know.
Like something going on in current events. Like that's why it's critically acclaimed.
Maybe, but you know what? This movie doesn't deserve to make you feel so bleak. There is no payoff to anything at all in this movie.
Yeah.
Literally nothing.
Just seems like a... Well, it didn't even reach like soap opera level of conflict.
Not at all.
It's just a bunch of ideas floating in space. I'm telling you, it's symbolic for something. It's like House of Sand and Fog. Did you ever see that movie?
No, I didn't see it.
Jennifer Connelly and Ben Kingsley are fighting over a house.
Yeah.
He used to own it. It got taken from him. She bought it from, like, the bank or something. And now he wants it back. Totally boring story until you realize it's all symbolic for, like, the Israel-Palestine conflict.
Yeah.
And you realize, like, oh, man, it's so powerful. Like...
Yeah, what a work of art.
That has to be what this movie is.
If it is totally lost on me, man. This whole movie is just trying to say, the scariest thing is what you can't see. And it just falls flat on his face, man, I think.
There's nothing to not see.
Exactly. They even showed Travis, in his dream, find what happened to the dog, look horrified.
Yeah.
And then nothing.
Yeah.
When the dog did run off, he even said, I heard something. You know?
Totally. Well, that was a good shit we just took.
Yeah, man. I hated this movie. I was so excited, too. Such a deceptive trailer.
Well, now it has Janosch in it.
Janosch makes anything good.
All right, folks. If you're using Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating and review. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Movies with Ron. We got a Facebook page. All right, it's been fun.
Love ya.
Take care.
Movies with Ron.
People are going to write in, it's Jif.
I wanted to say something about that.
I'm thinking that's where the next Ring movie should... That's how it should happen. The GIF just gets spread. Now it's a GIF.